Good afternoon. Welcome to the mmlearn.org. Our presentation today is on falls. I'm so delighted you are here to join us. San Antonio today and this afternoon is absolutely beautiful, and I hope wherever you are, it's just as lovely. I'm going to ask you if you have cell phones or pagers to turn those off now for those of you that are in rooms sharing this experience with other folks. If you're sitting at your office or home alone, you don't have to worry about that, but it would be good to do that even for yourself. I'm your presenter today. I'm Maria Wellish. I am a registered nurse, and I am with Morningside, and I actively deal with this issue, falls, almost every day. As a matter of fact, I'm going to admit that I dealt with one yesterday myself, and I can show you my bruise, but it'll help me to be a little bit more compassionate as I go through the program today. I want you to know that I'm standing here in this room all by myself, except for the folks in the back who are here to take your questions. So I'm anxious to hear where you're at, how many are in the room with you. I like to know what's going on in the outside world as well. So you can see in the upper left-hand corner on your bar across right underneath mmlearn is a little bubble. And if you'll click on that, you can ask a question or you can tell me how many people are in the room, and I'm always interested to know, what are you eating? That seems to be one of the biggest issues, what people are having. Let's talk about falls. Where do falls occur? And I want you to know for sure that this presentation is usually directed to those that are in assisted living, skilled nursing, some independent living. But today this is a program that is directed at every one of us because falls happen in the home, in the community, all of our facilities, hospitals. There's just no place, even out on the sidewalks, in front of our homes. So every one of us is affected by this, and not just by age. What I do want you to think about, though, that falls are the leading cause of fatal and non-fatal injuries of older adults in the United States. And by the time that I finish this program today, 2 people will have died in our country from a fall. And I think those statistics are just amazing. And we're going to hear more about that as we go through the program. There is so much information on falls, and when we talk about best practices, evidence-based learning, there are so many places to go. But I want to take you through a few of them. Some of our information today came from AMDA. That's the American Medical Directors Association. The Center for Disease Control is actually doing a tremendous amount of research and gaining lots of information and statistics on falls, and put out some wonderful brochures and information on preventing, treatment, all sorts of things that will help you no matter where you are, no matter where you live. I also want to talk about the Texas Department of Aging and Disability Services and the quality monitors. They have some extraordinary information, and I took a lot from that. And this is what that page looks like. And at the bottom, you can also see there's the link to go directly to this page. There is an item on there that deals just demonstrably with falls. But what I want you mostly to think about is what this includes. And this managing fall risks was developed for skilled nursing facilities, but I want you to know it is just as pertinent for assisted living and a lot of home care issues to look at. So it'll give you a good overview. It talks about resident evaluations, care planning, quality improvement, which I think was very well written here, some related technologies. But most importantly for you, those of you who are getting ready for survey or have other concerns, is to look at the related tags. They have 3 pages of F tags that are associated with falls alone. So if you have any questions, this is a great website to go to. And it gives you lots of additional resources where you can get information. So we're going to get interesting with this, get more interested, but I do want to direct you to the site because I think it's very important. And we have such limited time to talk about such a tough subject. So please go back and look at this and take a look at that quality monitor. So I'm going to ask Nina about every 10 minutes or so to give me an update with questions. But again, if you will just let me know how many people are online, if you're watching us, and tell me a little bit about what you're doing. And I'll share that with you as I get it too. So we have Bertha, who's there alone. We have Dayon, who's at the Meadow, and 10 people have joined us at the Meadows. I thank you for being with us and look forward and hope this information is helpful to you. Let's talk about allegations of abuse and neglect. They always scare us. Anytime that we hear the words abuse, neglect, we feel not us. But the truth is, in regards to falls, sometimes we are neglectful in caring for residents and not doing everything that we can. We think about this in regards to legal action usually. Legal action means money, loss of money. I think this is important. We can't ignore this, especially when we get to documentation, but it's not the most important reasons that we're giving this lecture on falls. I do want you to know, though, that in 2009, resident falls were 44% of claims that were done by allegation. Death in 2009 accounted for 41% of all the closed claims. That means they were settled or went to court. 41% of the claims, that's almost half, were due to falls, and that death due to falls. And fractures were 26%. So I think these are really amazing statistics when it comes to legality, and we need to be very, very careful about this. And I'm going to talk more as we go through. Resident outcomes after falls is just appalling. That if somebody falls and is hospitalized, they'll usually stay double the time of any other stay. Any other stay. Their hospital duration lasts twice as long. And even more startling is that only half of those people from a nursing home will be alive 1 year later after a fall. So this tells you that as someone's aging up, their likelihood of survival goes down with each fall, and we know that many people have more than one. Resident outcomes after falls. And let's see here. Some other folks joining us, and this is fun. From the Manor, we have 5 people watching. No food. Manor. Ooh, I'd call pizza in. And oh my gosh, and Chandler is here, and they're waiting for a few more to show up, so that's wonderful. Keep them coming in from wherever you're at. Resident outcomes after fall. I want you to know that between 10 and 25% of the persons who have fallen admit that they avoid activities because of their fear of additional falls and injuries. This becomes something that we're going to follow as we go through this program today because it's so pervasive. But fear of falling is one of the greatest reasons for falls. And look at how this isolates people and makes them stay in that fear is so great. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. Evidence suggests that falls may precipitate symptoms of anxiety and depression. And this is kind of like the chicken or the egg, which comes first. But we sometimes talk about falls happening because of anxiety and depression, but it may be the other way around. So these are all comorbidities or other issues that we need to be very aware of, that what happens once somebody does have a fall. But what I don't want us to ever forget about, we can talk about legal issues, we can talk about F-tags, we can talk about all these things, but I want you to know what we're really talking about is the resident. And what happens when somebody falls. It is the bruising, yes. It is the pain, yes. It is the fear. I can tell you I've been more careful all day since my fall yesterday. Isolation, I am not isolated, but you'd think so since I'm in the room alone. And embarrassment. And this is very interesting because when residents talk about their falls, they want to minimize them. They don't want to talk about the fall because it is embarrassing. And for any of us that have fallen, you know how you try to get up right away. Because you don't want anybody to see that you did that. So these are all things to remember as we go through falls. It's all about the resident. So I'm going to ask you, where do you think might be the number one, or what do you think might be the number one cause of all falls? And I know many of you are in a room together, so just share what you think might be the number one cause of all falls. Well, it's muscular weakness, and especially in the lower extremities. That is cited in almost all literature as that number one reason. What we know, and we continue to train and train and train, are risks for falling. But look at the top is that muscular weakness, some gait and balance problems and disorders, dizziness or vertigo, the inner ear problems, confusion, incontinence, stroke, Parkinson's disease, vision and hearing impairment, seizures, depression, and previous falls. If somebody's had a previous fall, the likelihood is much greater that they will fall again. Gosh, I hope not.